In this video, I am going to be really diving deep into Venus, the planet of love and beauty and harmony, in the very detached yet connected sign of Aquarius. Specifically, how this planet and how this placement operates in relationships, because Venus rules Libra, that's relationships. And so, which really makes for somebody who is a very, very good friend, is a very good companion, but when it comes to the emotional investment into the situation, it becomes very kind of convoluted. It becomes a dichotomy between sorts. It really speaks to the effervescences of the dry book souls that exist on this earth, of which they should be included in the grand plan for the future. Could somebody with a Venus and Aquarius placement be a star seed? That depends on certain factors, including yourself and your natal chart. In this video, I'm going to be discussing Venus and Aquarius in depth in the natal birth chart. So let's dive right in. The thing about Aquarius is that there's a phrase out there, and I may be paraphrasing, and I may be wrong about this, but I've heard it being said that Aquarius loves humanity but dislikes humans. Likes the broader collective and really cares about humanity as a whole, but when it comes to one-on-one relationships, they're cut off. They may be detached, they may be uninvolved emotionally. They may be wanting to always intellectualize and scientificize everything instead of really forming the very Scorpio deep connections to which Scorpio squares Aquarius. Yet Uranus is exalted in Scorpio. Because what is Scorpio? It is truth. It is profound change and transformation. And Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus is the great disruptor. So that's why that placement is the way it is. Um, and so delving into Venus and Aquarius, you really, really put a lot of focus and attention on humanity as a whole species. You put that focus very investivency in investivency. You're very, very into that. Now you want to draw a lot of things to you. You want to draw upon others in their power, being their authentic, unusual, quirky, unique selves, and them inspiring you to be your authentic self, them inspiring you to go up the hill and travel 5,000 miles to Israel, going out of your way to make a shoot thing happen. This is where the rubber hits the road. Because what can happen when those individuals come into your life is they can plant seeds in your mind, and you choose if you want those seeds to grow into weeds or into plants, into flowers or into whatever poisonous herb that there is out there, probably in the herbal astrology oracle that's inclusion to that. But you know, this is cassette because you want to be around those who uplift you, who inspire you, who are on your side, who support you in being yourself. Now, somebody with a Venus and Aquarius can be very, very highly social, very out there, very social butterfly, meeting people, a people person, wanting to have conversations and make connections and do all those kind of things like that. They can be rather outgoing, which is interesting because, as I said before, Aquarius can be looked at as aloof, detached, and unemotional. But Aquarius is very emotional. It just expresses it in a different way. It intellectualizes it, scientificizes it. And there's a love here to be with friends. A love for friends, but also putting on a friendly type of demeanor in relationships, because Aquarius is more about friends and those kind of, connections where you can be your free self, where you kind of let the hat fly off the handle. Where you're just a casual, open relationship with not a whole lot of conditions. There's just something about friendship that really turns them on, and it's very motivating for them to be in a relationship if they perceive the other person as their friend, if they form a connection that is in the friend-like category. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, not a water sign, because the water bearer, the symbol of Aquarius, pours, represents knowledge and wisdom. Note that while the water bearer deeply cares about humanity and spilling truth, spilling knowledge, the water does not hit the water maiden at all. She pours the water and it doesn't splash up on her. She is not affected by the water. The two waves that Aquarius are represented by Aquarius, the glove of Aquarius, notice the connection, but notice the space between the waves. They are connected, but detached. And that is cassette un cassette. They value intellectual connections as opposed to emotional connections. That's their wheelhouse as an air sign. So there's a need here to be allowed to be an individual in relationships. If they feel like someone is squashing their unique essence, squashing their individuality, they will leave the relationship. They will get up and say, no, I'm not going to be in this relationship anymore. I'm going to move on to a relationship that is for my highest good, that does have the partner supporting me, expressing my authentic self. And so, boom, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make a new decision. I'm going to move on to a better relationship that is more supportive of me being me, where people see you for you, not the conditioned person that they expect you to be, but you for you. That's the kind of relationships that can be for anybody, right? But especially for Venus and Aquarius individuals, that is of the utmost importance for them. And so, if the relationship proves worth it to them, they will be very loyal and they will take the steps to bring it up to the next level. Now, any Aquarius placement, especially Aquarius in the personal planets, Venus is a personal planet. They are going to march to the beat of their own drum. They're not going to go along with the group thing. They're not going to go along to get along. They're not going to conform to the things that are not aligned in their belief system, in their ideal system. They're going to break it and follow their own soul's heart. And I think there's something about spirituality that can really like there is something that's true for you, yet something to be obedient towards. That's what I found with tuning into my soul, working with divination cards. It's something that is of for your best interest, for your highest good to follow this. That's something that you can be obedient to. And Aquarius is the rebel. And I've stated before that rebelling is essentially not being obedient to one thing, but being obedient to another thing. If you're rebelling against, uh, you know, a teacher, a government official, a parent, or whatever, you're not being obedient to them, but you may be obedient to somebody else in your life. You may be obedient to your soul, to your inner knowing, to your intuition, of which the Aries and the strong Aquarius Aries placements in your chart just lights up. The Sagittarian placements lights up because this is something that I can be obedient towards. And it's something I can rebel against the external figures and the rules and the regulations and the demands. And I can tune into my intuition. I can follow the invites and the call and the voice of my soul. So that's what rebelling it is. Rebelling is not being obedient to one thing, being obedient to another thing. Um, So they march to the beat of their own drum. They do things their own way. They live their life their own way, from the fashion they wear to the food they eat to, to the job that they have, which is very out of the box. And my career will definitely be multifaceted as a nonfiction writer, as a fiction writer, as a composer, as an oracle deck creator. I'm kind of all over the map of subjective type. Well, astrology is more objective, but there is subjectivity in that. Um, that's essentially, it'll be very, very difficult for somebody to introduce me because of all the different facets that I want to travel in as somebody with four Gemini placements in their chart, of wanting to do multiple things as a career at one time. So that's my vision for the future, I guess you could say. Um, so you follow your soul's calling of what you desire to do. Now, another thing is that you need the space to creatively express yourself. Leo, the opposite sign of Aquarius, is all about how you creatively express yourself, how you shine in the world. And there is a very, very strong overlap between Leo and Aquarius, more than any other polarities. Aries and Libra, not so much. But Aquarius and Leo, you cannot have one without the other. You could not just march to the beat of your own drum and then wanting the validation from others. They're intertwined. Leo and Aquarius merge with one another, kind of like Pisces, kind of, but it's Leo and Aquarius, that sign polarity. Um, it overlaps. Aquarius and Leo are signs that overlap each other. The 11th house, which Aquarius rules, is vision. It is dreams. It is aspirations. And so this placement has big visions for humanity. I want to change society for the better. I want to be my authentic self and do what makes me feel alive so that I can support humanity as a whole. That becomes their anchor point. Now, the Aquarius is a fixed sign, and fixed signs hold on to things. There's a dichotomy here between Aquarius and Scorpio. Uh, Aquarius and Scorpio has the dichotomy. Scorpio is about letting go and holding on at the same time. But then Aquarius is about, um, being connected but detached at the same time. So that's where there is dichotomy here. They're very fixed when it comes to their ideals. They're very stubborn when it comes to their ideals. Yes, it's Aquarius is an air sign, so it's open to meeting new people from walks of life. So, there's um a, a dichotomy with both of these two signs that while they square each other, I could see them getting along just fine. I can see them really forming a relationship full of growth because one can really learn from the other and they can balance each other out. So they have very, very strong beliefs. They're very stubborn when it comes to their beliefs, very stubborn when it comes to their values. Yet at the same time, they're open minded to everyone and everything. Yes, they have strong belief systems, but they are curious. They like to be in what is considered to be beginner's mind. Now, somebody with Venus and Aquarius needs change. Absolutely needs to change things up. Things can't be the same way that they've always been. There has to be change in the situation. There has to be some shakeup. There has to be some, room to breathe, room to move, whatever it is. Aquarius needs change. Venus and Aquarius needs relationships to change. It can't be the same old routine, those kind of things like that. They need change. They need freedom in relationships. They absolutely need to be free to be their authentic selves, as I was talking about before. And Aquarius is the great disruptor. Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is the great disruptor. They like to have chaos in their relationship, maybe conflict in their relationship. There needs to be stimulation and shakeups. Boredom for them, well, it kind of is the kiss of death for them. And I can relate to that because my Mars is in Gemini, and I think if an astrologer like Deborah Silverman, who is a psychologist and astrologer, I think that what she would say to me would be, if you don't feel stimulated, you're not motivated. And if she were to say that to me, I would nod and I would say, yep, that's me. I need I both my Venus and Mars are both in Gemini. So, you know, Venus, which rules Taurus, which is more Venus rules food and the yum yums of life. I may turn to food for the stimulation of it, Gemini, instead of the, other factors of it, instead of more of the sensual experience, more of a stimulator to my brain and my mind. That's, and Mercury and Taurus thinking a lot about the food. So anyway, getting off topic here. Um, they may want to test their partner. They may want to test the resilience of the partner. Are you strong enough to handle this change? And if they are strong enough to handle the change, they will remain in the relationship. Aquarius has two rulers. It has Saturn and Uranus. Uranus. And so these two planets are could they are so not connected to each other. Because Saturn is conventionality, rules, the way that things have always done, tradition, uh, karma, discipline. Uranus is new technology, future endeavors, freedom, um, future oriented, changing things up, shaking up the status quo. And so there's another dichotomy to Aquarius. There's the Saturn and Uranus both ruling Aquarius. And Aquarius is ruled by these two planets. So, um, you may be very structured, Saturn, but you may be fearless and independent when it comes to pursuing your vision. And so when you gain their trust in you, then they will open up and really show their more emotional self to you, really spill out all these varieties and synchronicities of emotion. Now, um, analyzing and intellectualizing emotions causing frustration for them is a really, really big thing to take into consideration because um they can get so caught in their heads and their logical mind that they forget to drop in, they forget to connect with their heart. Leo, the opposite sign, is all about the heart. It's all about it's the water fire sign because Leo is super emotional. Mel Robbins is a great example of how Aries is the earth fire sign because of all the things that she talks about. They're very practical and they're Aries related. So I really consider Aries to be quite practical in a way. Even though it's a fire sign, there is a practicality, you know, essence. There's a practical essence to it, I want to say. There's maybe a practical motive. I mean, I can say because my Mercury's in Taurus, which is Earth. Anyway, um, so they can get so caught in their heads, so caught up in their heads, analyzing and intellectualizing. Now, they will fight for their freedom and independence if they feel repressed or restricted or pushed down in any way, shape, or form. They will rebel. They will show their authentic self out there. I don't care what you think. Now, if any partner is controlling, that they have the control, they have all these expectations and conditions, and it doesn't align with your idea of happiness if you have Venus in Aquarius, you will not be afraid to leave the relationship. You'll be like, nope, I'm not going to be in this relationship because this person isn't getting me. This person is not letting me be who I am. And so move away from them. And I'm saying, yes, move away from the relationships that where you're not allowed to be your authentic, unique individual self. Yeah. A very, very important hallmark of this placement is that your partner needs to be your best friend. There has to be a friend-like relationship in romantic relationships with them. That's very important. Um, Forming relationships with people that they have a solid friendship with is preferred for this placement. They like to really get to know you as a friend before they form that deep partnership, that deep bond. They are very, very detached in their relationships. There's no question about that. Now, they will probably not settle for petty partners. They want intelligent partners that they can have many stimulating relationships with. They need to be at their level or above their level. They cannot be below their level. Otherwise, it's not worth it for them to be in that relationship because they have to have a partner that they can bounce ideas off of and learn from and grow with. And so that's where the intel the intelligent part of it, the smart part of it comes into play here. Now, they have a very, very strong liking for the extraordinary, for the unusual, for all of that goes into consideration now. They're really open to things that are very fresh, that are very vibrant, very exciting, very stimulating, high-pipping. They want this in relationship very, very badly, and they're willing to fight for it if they need to. You want to connect with those that intellectually stimulate and excite you and rev you up. You're very social, curious, and freedom loving. You may be attracted to anyone at all, from any background, from any walk of life, from any social status, ethnicity, race, whatever. You're open to it all. You're fascinated by differences and fresh perspectives. Because these differences, when they start coming together and forming a team, they manifest like a ripple wave. They are huge for you. Now, relationships need to be based on more of an intellectual connection as opposed to a heart-centered connection. Now, you want to be around those who are fun and educational for you. That is very, very important. They need to be both fun to be around and very educational at the same time. They may go for the unusual and eccentric people in the world. Now, you have the very detached, objective outlook on life. The thing about Aquarius is that it's detached, or it can view things from a higher lens, or can view things from a place of non-attachment, to see things objectively and make changes, especially with Moon in Aquarius. Moon in Aquarius is the observer placement. And Venus in Aquarius has that observation to tactile in relationships, specifically. You make a very, very good friend. You're open-minded. You're also very considerate. You're very, very respectful of the other space, not wanting to control or project or push at the person. You will respect somebody else's space to be who they are. And you expect the same thing in return. You expect them to respect your space and allow you to be your authentic self. So it's a two-way street here. You don't force or project your own ideas on others. You are there for an intellectual connection. You are great with collaborating, networking, um, you know, all these kind of things like that. That's your wheelhouse. You may be into science and technology, computers, and any type of technology at all. They might be very, you may have a very, very wide range of interests, interested in many, many different things. The thing about Aquarius is that they are not in the now. They are thinking way into the future, way ahead of their time. They're always striving for the future, not the present. Always trying, what can I do for the future? How can I make this better for the future? What can I change for the future? And so they have visions of how society could be better than the current status quo, and they were not afraid to implement those visions into tangible reality. They have well-developed values, a very, very strong personal beliefs, being around those who are good for them, support their ideas and ideals and individuality. They may have a unique sense of fashion, wearing different things, presenting themselves in different ways. There's a need for a relationship to be authentic. They have the courage to stand up for what they believe in, and they will do that. They want for relationships that are not the conventional type, that are not the norm type of relationships. Now, they also don't outwardly show their emotions or affection. They're more intellectual. They're more, that kind of thing. Um, and they want to be with a partner who supports them being their authentic self in a relationship. That's what this placement is all about. Now, in keeping with the following your soul intuitive point of view, I've decided to pull an oracle card from the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell to see what Spirit has to say for somebody with Venus and Aquarius. So that is exactly what I am going to do. So I'm going to ask the question, what does someone with a Venus and Aquarius placement need to know for their highest good? This is the timeless reading. Let's see what the cards have to say. Pull this card. And the card that I received from shuffling is Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It's happening. So this is very, very appropriate because Aquarius, another thing I should mention, that they strive for a utopia. So they strive for a heavenly place. They want the world to be a better place. They want everybody to be more inclusive, more connected, those kind of things like that. And so creating heaven on earth, that's what it really comes down to. Making the world a better place, a peaceful place. You can think of the song Imagine. It's a very, very common example for Venus and Aquarius. That is very appropriate for them going on with that. They want to make the world a better and more peaceful place. They want everyone to be equal, but everyone to be at the same level, very horizontal structures as opposed to top-down structures. um, that say a fly is has the same value of life as a human being. There's a sacred reverence for everyone being equal. You're very, very willing to make the world a better place, to make the world heaven on earth. And Aquarius, as I said before, is about vision. So you're holding the vision and you're being very, very strong. I'm very fixated and focused and determined on that vision and manifesting it into reality. As Aquarius holds on, it has this idea, this experiment that it wants to do, this project, and it will go to the ends of the earth to achieve it. They're open to change and connection and ideas along the way, yet they are, in the end, a fixed right. Aquarius is grassroots up. It's, making something, advancing humanity, getting together with like-minded people to create something that advances humanity as a whole. If you follow Pam Gregory, the astrologer Pam Gregory, she really, really goes on about repeatedly talking about Aquarius being grassroots up and horizontal structures. And Pluto is in Aquarius now, so it's very, very appropriate to receive this card. And the very, very last reminder for this card is really, as I've said before, um, you are helping the planet. You are helping humanity by not conforming, not going along to get along, but by living, by being alive, by taking up space, by being your authentic self and manifesting your visions into reality. That's what this comes down to. So that is your spirit message from Spirit for Venus and Aquarius. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm very well aware that this video has many insights in it. If you like these insights, then share it with somebody who would also appreciate the insights I provided you in this video. You can also utilize the features underneath the video to boost it into the YouTube algorithm. That way more people can find this content and the channel can grow even more than it is. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video um, in a couple of days or whenever I get around to filming it. Okay, bye for now.